Okay, so we start multicolored, and I just want to make a mention of how this is going to go. In Amonkhet, there was a cycle of single color rare Aftermath cards. There was a cycle of enemy paired uncommon Aftermath cards, and a cycle of allied paired rare Aftermath cards. In Hour of Devastation, there is a cycle of allied color uncommons and enemy colored rares. So we're going to start off first with Farm to Market. Farm is 2 and a white for an instant uncommon. Destroy target attacking or blocking creature. What do we think of that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Would you play it just by itself?
Yep.
I would. Absolutely. It looks like the removal that white didn't have just in mono white. And then Market is a sorcery. Aftermath can only be played from your graveyard, then exile it. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. So I can see myself playing that.
Sure.
But really what I'm interested in is if the regular part of the card is playable by itself. And in this case, Farm absolutely is. While I wouldn't first pick this, I would pick it very highly. Second, third, fourth.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you. It's good white removal.
Next we have Consign to Oblivion. Consign is 1 and a blue for an instant. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So that's an expensive unsummon.
Yep.
It does hit anything, not just creatures. So non-land permanent could be a
Edifice.
an edifice with 3 counters on
Which
it. And suddenly
resets
they have
it,
to start all over. Could be a planeswalker if they're about to ultimate. Oh boy. You know, living the dream there, I guess. This is just fine. I would also take it highly, but not first pick. You know, 3rd, 4th, 5th in the pack, I'd take it.
Yeah.
Be happy. Oblivion is a sorcery. Target opponent discards 2 cards for 4 and a black.
Meh.
I'm not really interested in casting that.
If it's all I have to do and it's in my graveyard, I'll probably do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not really that excited about it.
If it's all I have to do, and
I'm
they have 2
sad.
cards, then it's like, I'll dump 5 mana into it. But I don't see myself ever actually casting Oblivion.
No.
Consign, yes. Yes, Consign is fine. Where would you pick Consign?
Middle of the pack.
Middle? All right.
And by middle of the pack, we do mean pack 1, generally.
Yeah.
Unless we say otherwise.
Claim to Fame. Claim is black for a sorcery. Return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you get back a 2-drop. That's not terribly exciting.
No, but there's a lot of good black 2-drops.
Sure. Or good multicolored 2-drops. Like, if I have a Hapatra from Amonkhet in my pool, I'm absolutely playing that. But, I don't know. This is going to be a late pickup for me. And
Well, we'll look at what the other side of the card says. So maybe you...
I'm just saying claim by itself.
Sure, fair.
So, Fame. 1 and a red. Aftermath. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn.
See, this makes me a little more likely to play it. Because it's
Yeah.
in red. And so 2 drops in red. You know what kind of deck you're probably building with this card in it. Probably an aggressive, low-curve deck. And +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn on your 2-drop. That's not bad. And it's a black and then 1 and a red. So it's very cheaply costed. So I think if I'm going to be running... I mean, I'm not going to first pick it. But if it comes around, you know, 4th or 5th pick and I know that I'm going to be in black and red, I'm probably going to grab it and run it.
Okay, so whereas with the first 2, I'd be happy with the first side, with this, I would need to cast both sides of it, and probably in the same turn. So I'm looking at 3 mana, return a 2-drop to the battlefield, give it haste, and +2/+0.
There's some nice 2-drops, so...
I mean, yeah. I'm still not taking it early. Like you say, I'm picking it up if it comes to me and maybe playing it. I'm not.
This is one of the
overjoyed.
ones that's a red-black card, so it's probably going to cycle around, and the red-black player is going to grab it.
Yeah, I'd say so. Struggle to survive. Struggle is 2 and a red for an instant. Struggle deals damage to target creature equal to the number of lands you control. That seems okay just by itself. So what does survive do? Survive is 1 and a green. Aftermath, each player shuffles his or her graveyard into his or her library.
Ooh. That can be hosing to some decks.
Can be. Can also keep you from decking yourself, I guess.
Sure.
You improve your balance of spells to land in your deck if you do that, for sure. Survive is just sort of whatever. Yeah. Again, I'm more interested in the red side. So.
But the red side, you're looking at 3 damage for 3 mana.
Yep. Or possibly 6 damage for 3 mana later in the game.
Yep.
So it scales very well, is the thing. 3 damage for 3 mana is fine.
Yeah.
And then the longer you wait, this is removal that doesn't diminish in value. Like,
it just gets better.
Yeah, it just gets better. And that's hard to find. So I think Struggle by itself is probably a first pick.
Me too.
Okay. Appeal to Authority. Appeal is green for a sorcery. Until end of turn, target creature gains trample and gets +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. This reminds me of something. What does this remind me of?
No idea.
It's kind of like the opposite of Crater of Behemoth. So how do we feel about a sorcery giving a creature +X and trample? Is it +1 in trample good enough?
No. I don't think so.
For a green, is giving something trample good enough? What's big in green that doesn't already have trample? Actually, quite a bit. So maybe. So let's see what Authority does. 1 and a white sorcery. Tap up to 2 target creatures your opponents control. Creatures you control gain vigilance until end of turn. Ooh, baby. So this is another one that I'm looking at as a green-white card, I think.
Yeah.
The green side by itself, if you want it in your deck, you're probably going to know. If you're going wide, then absolutely I would take this.
For me, this becomes better knowing that there's white creatures as well. Like, you put this on a flyer.
And you get to tap down your opponent's biggest things, and your creatures don't tap, so you're not in that situation where if you swing in and they, fog or whatever, then you're dealing with a crackback. I like this quite a bit, but again, I'm probably going to pick it up on the wheel or something.
Oh yeah, I'm not highly picking this.
Not highly picking it, but if I'm in green-white, then I'm happy to have it. If I'm in just green, then I'm probably going to play it if it comes to me. But I'm not looking... It's not exciting to me.
Nope.
Alright, we're on to the rares. Leave to Chance is... Leave is 1 and a white for an instant. Return any number of target permanents you own to your hand.
Ooh.
What? Alright, what does Chance do? 3 and a red, sorcery, aftermath. Discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards. This is a weird
So here's
card.
the hanky thing that you could do.
Okay.
You have a bunch of do-nothing creatures on the field that you just can't do anything with. So you pitch them back to your hand, and you trade them in for something you hope is better. But what I think you really use this for is board-based removal, where they have put something on your creature, or in combat.
I guess,
because you can bounce more than one thing, right? So you can block and bounce
any
it.
number of target permanents you own to your hand. So you can bounce your removal back and put it on something bigger. If you had an arrest what was it called? Whatever the sands.
Can you not triple block their big thing and then bounce all of those creatures to your hand before?
Well, why would you do that if you're hoping to kill their thing?
Oh, right, because it doesn't do damage.
Yeah. I don't know. There are probably ways to use this, but I'm not seeing it.
Things like... what if you block and they play a combat trick?
Sure. I mean, that's fine.
I mean, to me, it's a white bounce. So they target your angel and they're going to exile it in response. You bounce it to your hand.
Alright. I would probably play this, but...
Things with ETB effects?
Yeah. I'm not sure how many things I'm going to bounce. If I'm bouncing one thing that I really want to bounce, I'm probably happy with this card. I don't see it being any more than that. I mean, maybe, but this is a really tricky card to figure out.
Really? Because we've had lots of things in the past that have been bounce something to your hand.
Yeah, one thing. This is bounce everything. Or bounce as many as you want.
Sure.
How many things am I going to want to bounce?
Yeah, but don't evaluate it that way. Look at it as return target creature to your hand for 2. Will you play that?
Yeah, I'd play that.
And I think it just gets value. Don't get confused by the any. There might be some reason you want. It's target permanent, so you can bounce a land for whatever reason or your whatever.
Okay, so Chance is a sorcery. 4 mana for that effect. Discard any number of cards. So I'm going to stock my extra lands and keep them in hand and pitch them all to draw new cards. That seems okay.
Yeah.
Both of these things together seem like maybe a card I would play. I don't think I'm going to take this highly, though. I'm more interested in threats and removal.
I'm going to take it mid-pack because I think there's lots of things that can benefit from this.
Okay. All right, we're on to the blue-green, the Simic one. Reason to Believe. Reason is blue for a sorcery, scry 3. So basically does nothing. Mm-hmm. So what's Believe do? Aftermath. They didn't put the reminder text on because there's just too much text. Look at the top card of your library. You may put it onto the battlefield if it's a creature card. If you don't, put it into your hand. So unless you know what it is you're getting, Believe is not a great card. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I have a reason to play Reason by itself.
If Believe were one, say 2 in a green, then on turn 4 you're scrying 3, and then hopefully ordering a creature and then drawing it. I think that would be really good.
Or playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at 6,
Yeah, and at 5 mana, it's like draw a card, play a card, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I don't think this is going to be better than just putting a 6-drop creature in your deck.
Is this something you would put in your deck if you are running a ton of expensive big creatures to get to play it for free?
Maybe.
To cheaty face it out.
I mean, maybe, but at that point, why would I not just play one more big green creature instead of this and play it instead?
Yeah.
I don't think this is very good. This is some sort of constructed card. I mean, again, Commander is going to love this card, but I don't think it's playable in Limited.
No, I don't either.
All right. Unplayable. Grind to Dust. Grind is 1 in a black sorcery. Put a -1/-1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. So it's Splendid Agony for 1 less, right?
That's fine.
Except it's not, because you can't kill a 2-drop with it.
Put a...
each of up to 2. So you can't put the counters both on one thing.
Sure.
It's probably still fine. Like, that still seems... it's also sorcery speed instead of instant speed.
Sure, but let's look at dust.
Alright, so dust. 3 and a white. Aftermath. Exile any number of target creatures that have -1/-1 counters on them.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
Yeah, so suddenly I see this pack 1 and I'm like, black, white? Sure, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this seems really sweet.
I would probably first pick this because you don't have to cast those both on the same turn.
No.
Especially if you're up against that green-black deck that likes to put counters on its own things.
Yep.
This seems fine. If I play grind on, let's say, turn 3 to kill their 1 toughness thing and shrink their 2 toughness thing, and then I just have dust in the board or in the graveyard waiting for me to get value, that seems fine.
Yeah, I like this quite a bit.
And on 6 mana, you just get to kill 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that seems real good.
Mm-hmm.
First pick.
Yep.
Refuse to cooperate. Well, that's not very nice. Refuse is 3 and a red for an instant at rare. They're all rares. Refuse deals damage to target spell's controller equal to that spell's converted mana cost.
Wow.
That's funny. Excuse me. So that by itself is unplayable, I think. It's just 2 corner case.
Yeah.
Like, it seems fun, but no. So what's cooperate? 2 and a blue, instant. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy.
I still don't think it's worth it because you have to have cast or got refuse into the bin first.
So it's interesting to note, if you have 7 mana, you cannot copy refuse. While refuse is on the stack, cooperate is not in the graveyard.
Yep.
So you cannot target refuse with cooperate. However, you can target whatever it is that they're casting. So if you had 7 mana and you dealt, you know, let's say 3 to their face with their own burn spell and then copied it, you could do that. But then you're spending 7 mana on some hinky weird shenanigans that, I don't know. So I would cast these separately probably, and the first part isn't worth it, and then the second part is, well, probably worth it, but they see it coming. So what do you think?
I would never play this.
You would never play this?
I don't think so.
If I was in that blue-red spells deck, I would play this. But I would not take it highly because I knew no one else was going to play it.
Sure, but they have to be doing a damage base. Oh no, they have to be casting a target spell, so it could be a creature.
It could be a creature. It could absolutely be a creature.
Fair enough. That if I'm in blue-red, okay, I might run it. But
if they're playing their 6-drop, you can absolutely deal 6 to their face with this.
Fair enough. Yeah, I just
Yeah, it's
Yep.
Alright, Driven to Despair. 1 and a green for Driven. Sorcery, until end of turn, creatures you control gain trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
Oh boy, howdy.
That seems... Excuse me, that seems good to me.
Seems real good.
Again, you have to have creatures that are going to punch through damage, but this has a similar feel to it as the one that gives Vigilance. It's like, hopefully you're drawing some cards which you can then play to defend yourself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you definitely have to have creatures to play it, but the trample's going to help them get stuff through, which is nice.
Yeah. So what's Despair? 1 and a black, Aftermath. Until end of turn, creatures you control gain Menace, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card.
So you can play this for 4.
For 4, they're probably going to have a couple of cards left in hand. They can block one of your creatures, but the other one's going to get through.
And you draw a card.
And you draw a card, and they discard a card. That seems good.
Yeah, it seems pretty neat. And I think it gets better the later game you play it.
Probably. I don't know that, like, it's no Destined Elite from Amonkhet.
No.
But it's performing a similar role. I would probably pick this up if it came to me, but I wouldn't be sad not to have one. It's just about a replacement level combat trick. Like, it's not giving you any extra damage. It's just getting through the damage that's already there. You know? So I don't think it's that great. Well, it looks fun, though.
I like trample. I like being able to put trample on my creatures.
Trample and menace work fairly well together.
I'm perfectly okay with paying 2 to give my creatures trample.
Okay. Here we are on to the Planeswalkers. There are 2 Planeswalkers. Let's start with the less interesting one. Samet the Tested. 2 red-green for a Planeswalker Samet at Mythic. She comes down with 4 loyalty, and you can +1 to up to 1 target creature gains double strike until end of turn.
Woot.
Yay. Alright, what's her -2? Maybe it's good. Samet the Tested deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 target creatures and or players.
Whoa.
Wow. So these are not great abilities.
Okay, but maybe the -7 is going to be amazing.
Alright, let's see. Her ultimate. -7. Search your library for up to 2 creature and or planeswalker cards. Put them onto the battlefield and shuffle your library.
Not good enough.
Not... I mean, how is she ever even getting to 7?
By giving your 1 creature double strike over and over, but you have to have a creature, and who cares?
I mean, maybe you just... Maybe your opponent just ignores her until she ultimates?
I'm sorry, Samet. You've been tested and you fail.
Yeah, this is really not good. I'm disappointed because Samet as a creature was so much better than this.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna take her, you're gonna play her because she's a planeswalker, and they make players go nuts.
Sure,
know?
She's a lightning rod, for sure.
Absolutely a lightning rod, and if she's not a lightning rod, then maybe she, you know, maybe she ultimates. And
maybe she gives your big stompy thing double strike that has trample.
But
yeah, it's disappointing for a planeswalker.
Like, do you just take a hooded brawler over her? I know they're in different sets, but
probably.
Wow. We can't call her unplayable because she's not.
She's not. She's not. But she, to me, would be like a
not great.
Like a C-, which
yeah.
is sad.
Or a D.
Okay, who's next? Maybe the next one's better.
Oh, all right. So our last multicolor card, big old Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh. 4 blue, black, red for a Planeswalker Bolas. 7 loyalty.
Boy, howdy.
So 8 mana, 7 loyalty. 8 mana is, no, sorry, 7 mana. 7 mana is a lot, but I think we can get there. And for Bolas, we're going to try. His first +1, target opponent exiles cards from the top of his or her library until he or she exiles a non-land card. Until end of turn, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost.
Whoa.
So you just get to steal a card from the top of their library and play it for free. And you mill them however many lands. That seems real good.
Uh-huh.
And it's a +2, so he comes down with 7, immediately goes to 9.
Yep.
That seems good.
Yep.
Alright, what's his other plus? +1, each opponent exiles 2 cards from his or her hand. So if they still have cards in hand while you are playing a 7 mana spell, you probably want to get those cards, even if they're just lands. It's better to know, you know. But you're probably only going to do this once, because then they're going to be top decking and playing what they draw, you know.
Yeah.
Still, the +2 is great.
Yep.
All right, so what's the -4? Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh deals 7 damage to target opponent or creature that opponent controls. Holy God Pharaoh!
That kills everything but one thing on the battlefield.
That kills everything but the mythic demon.
Yep.
And it just deals 7 to their face.
Yeah.
To their face.
As soon as he comes down, he can deal 7 to their... or 4 to their face. And he's still a 3...
So he can do 7 to their face. He's still got 3 loyalty. Next turn you can +2 him, so that the turn after you can do that again, and he's still on the battlefield.
Okay,
that is gross and disgusting.
What's his -12?
-12. Exile each non-land permanent your opponent controls.
That's mean.
So just exile everything.
Bye-bye.
You can have your lands. You know what? You keep those lands. You cast whatever you draw. I'm just going to swing in with my mighty army that I've cast off the top of your deck, by the way.
This card feels very, very much what you want him to be.
Yeah, I love this card. I think it's great. The 4 loyalty abilities are... we've only seen that 3 times before. And funnily enough, we've seen them in blue, in red, and in black-green, but, you know, in black. So, that's interesting.
Oh, I'm first picking him.
Oh, I'm definitely first picking
around him every time.
You really want to make sure that you can get to him, though.
Sure.
So, you're going to scry, you're going to cycle, you're going to play big toughness creatures that hopefully keep you alive. And make no mistake, if you do take this and build around it, you are going to lose to an aggressive deck, if there's an aggressive deck in the format.
Is this where you're finally drafting the zombie wall?
I honestly don't know. I don't think so.
It's a 1 mana 4/04 or 05?
I would want things that have power to block with.
Yeah, fair enough. But there's a zombie wall.
But absolutely, this card is worth taking if you can build around it. But you have to count the cost. You know that you get to 7 mana. In 3 different colors.
It's worth working for.
It's worth working for.
Absolutely. So.
Alright. And you know what, actually? I might build a green deck around this. As weird as it sounds, like... That's the color that has all of the splash.
Are you suddenly playing that not-so-great green card that allows you to go get...
2 different lands? Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
Seems
that's also a rare.
Yeah. but living the dream. Living the dream.
Anyway, yeah. We're going on to the artifacts now, and then we've got lands to talk about, so sit tight.